I decided I was going to record this while sitting in bed.
You're in bed?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have the microphone on your chest, or what are you doing?
It's
I'm
on my
interested in this.
stomach.
You're okay. So
And
if
I'm
suddenly
holding
you're
it.
far away, I'll know that your stomach moved and your microphone fell off.
It shouldn't. I'm holding it with both hands.
Oh, you
Feels
are?
pretty comfortable. Yeah.
Really? That sounds
hmm
strange to me, but hey, whatever floats your boat.
The bottom of it is resting on my stomach. It's kind of like into my chest. I don't know. I can't really explain it, but
Well, so you have the mic like in between your boobs, like how ladies hold lots of stuff in between their boobs? Is that what you're doing?
yeah,
That'd
pretty
be
much.
that'd be great. Uh, maybe I should try that. If you're listening to this is Super Bowl Sunday, which if you're listening, you should feel lucky that Shandi and I are even recording today because we both take football very seriously. Right?
I forgot.
You forgot. Okay,
I just
you
saw
couldn't
a
even
post
play.
on TikTok and was like, "What day is it?"
You couldn't even play along with me for a second. Come on. When did you move to New York?
I moved in 2004 that summer.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
So was this after you were already on the TV show, the model show?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it was
'cause
after that, and you moved to New York after that.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Sometimes this turns into a talk show because I forget what's happening or what has happened in the past, and I interview you. I didn't know you. I don't think I knew that you ever worked at the Empire State Building. What'd you do there?
I worked at the Walgreens on the
Oh,
bottom
random.
level.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you wear at Walgreens? A blue smock? Did you wear a blue smock?
Oh, my smock. I fucking hated that goddamn thing. Because they always gave me one that was too big.
Yeah, but you were super skinny. You are. I mean, you still, So it's like, what do you? And you're tall. Like, they don't make clothes for you people, or do
No,
they? I
not
don't
at
know.
all.
I mean, Trevor always wore baggy clothes. Trevor just wore whatever promotional items people gave him, which is why he had like a full outfit of Rockaware. It's still so silly to say out loud, but
I
yeah.
like that he, when I would get promo stuff, I probably never wore it, but he did exactly what you're supposed to do when people give you free clothes.
Which is wear it and not
Wear
buy your own
them.
clothes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Did you ever get any promotional stuff that you liked? Like that you
I
wore?
don't think so. I think I had like a piece of lingerie from some lingerie shoot that I did once at Beauty Bar on 14th Street.
You did the show
Uh,
there?
We did a shoot there for lingerie. Yeah.
Wait, for the top model show?
No, this was
Oh, it
afterwards.
was after that, some actual just regular modeling work. Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Random.
and I got to keep a piece of lingerie. It was really, really nice, and I was like,
Really?
it's not something I would have ever bought for myself, but
Right, you don't seem like a lingerie lady.
no. And they fitted it on me, and I went, and then they're like, "You can have it," and I said, "Oh, this is nice." I don't know even what happened to it. Wouldn't fit in it now.
Well, that's the thing. And I've never worn lingerie. I've never really experienced it very often at all. I've never been wearing it or on the receiving end of it. Is that what you say? I don't know. But that's the thing about it is that, yeah, okay, sexy, whatever. But it feels good. It's made out of good fabric for the most part, right? It's like actually kind of
Yeah.
comfortable.
It's
Okay.
like silky, satiny.
Right.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's like, and it breathes and when it fits really well and it doesn't move, it's just awesome. Like it fits your body. It's so awesome.
Yeah. That's great. And, Fat Mike, who is the lead singer of NoFX, he, for a while, had a line called Fatale, which was lingerie for men. It was the same shit, just made for men's sizes, like teddies and stuff.
Cool.
I know I kind of wanted to get some, but I think it was pretty expensive, and I don't think they don't make it anymore. And I was like, now in my current life, it's like, there's no reason for that. I mean, except like you said, it might be comfortable. What?
That's the thing too, is really good laundry is expensive.
Yeah, it's weird.
So yeah, I'm like, yeah, I can use that money for something else.
So how do we turn this into what we're supposed to talk about? Oh, okay. You know who would look great in lingerie? You know who does look great in lingerie? Barbara Crampton.
Yeah.
Hey, we did it. Because, well, not in this movie she doesn't, but yeah, I guess she puts a bra on. But in From Beyond, she's all dominatrixed out at one point.
Dude, but you get to see
Barbara's
all
Cramptons.
of her. Holy moly.
Yeah, you really do.
Wow.
I think everything but the buns. Well, those are probably in there too. She's fully on display. And, you know, obviously Barbara Crampton, hubba hubba. But the fully nude scene in this is hard to, you know, see as hot because it's pretty fucking creepy.
Oh, it's so creepy. Oh.
I mean, it's like basically sexual assault by a zombie, you know? So, isn't it? I mean, wouldn't you say that's what it is?
Yeah, I was really uncomfortable watching it again because I kind of forgot that it almost got to like zombie cunnilingus.
Yeah.
And it really freaked me out. I was like,
yeah.
Oh no, I don't remember that part. What the fuck? Thank God he got stopped. Oh God.
Okay, so welcome to Earnful of Popcorn. I'm
Hello.
Timmy Hi. I'm Timmy Williams. Who are you?
Hi, I am also Shandi Sullivan.
You're also... Well, I didn't say I was this time. I just said I was Timmy Williams. Next time, instead of saying, who are you, I'm going to say, what are you?
Oh.
Just change it up a little bit. But for, this is a horror movie podcast with no plan, except we know what movie we're supposed to talk about. And for this month of February, do you say it February or February?
February.
Okay. Because I get real tripped up. You know, in my day job, I have to say the name of the month a lot, any given month. And this is the one I dread every fucking year. I also don't like Valentine's Day, so it's just not a fun time. But February, it's both difficult for me, so I don't know. But anyways, for the month of Feb, we are, since we like it, we like that people listen to this, we decided to do, since it's Valentine's month, whatever, February's, we decided to take listener suggestions.
We did.
Yay.
And
we
people
had a
actually suggested.
Yeah, they did a lot. It was good. There was a lot of good ones. In fact, we did a drawdown, which means we actually read off. So when you do a drawdown, you get to read everything. So and that means we drew out until we got to 2, and those are 2 we're going to watch. So we saw a lot of other good ones that I'm sure we'll remember as ideas, you know. And you kept the slips of paper, probably, yeah? Maybe?
Well, they're all written on our Excel spreadsheet list anyway. So that's where I got them all from.
Oh, yeah. I forget that you are organized. Okay, cool. But so there's 2 of them, and the first one is Re-Animator, which was made in 1985. So it's actually, we always end up doing this, but so this is another anniversary. It's 40th anniversary of Re-Animator, at least sometime soon, you know. So.
Wow. And I totally forgot that this was an H.P. Lovecraft novel.
Yeah.
I don't remember things like that.
Me neither.
And I haven't seen this in a really long time. So it was almost like watching it for the first time again for me, I realized, because I forgot a lot.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I had a really, really fun time watching it.
Awesome. When was the last time you saw it, do you think, before this?
Dude, it's got to have been like a decade.
Wow.
At least,
okay.
or more. So when I saw Barbara Crampton come up, I was like, yeah, Chopping Mall. Woo!
Hell yeah.
Because I saw that only a couple years ago for the first time, and that movie's fucking badass as fuck.
Oh, that movie is
So,
incredible. Uh,
it
but
is
yeah.
amazing.
And was that before this? That might have been after this. I feel like
I
Chopping Mall
think
has
that
more of a late
was,
80s feel. It's 86. Okay. So
yeah, that was
slightly
after this, and I actually did a little bit of research because, like I said, it's been so long since I've seen it. I didn't really
Hmm.
remember anything about anyone. Uh, so all these people are pretty much enter. It's like that thing of when somebody likes working with the same people.
Yes.
Like Brian Yunza,
Yeah,
who
they're like a
produced this.
collective.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
is that what the word? Yeah. Yeah, Brian Yuzna, okay.
yeah. Yeah, he did Society,
Right.
which is also fucking insane movie and
I've
amazing.
never seen it. That's
Oh,
like one of the
dude.
ones I've always meant to see. Yeah, yeah.
We got to put that on the list. You'll
All right.
fucking love it. You'll probably text me the whole time you're watching it and be like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck am I watching?" It's one of those.
Right.
Um,
I know a little bit
yeah.
of the premise, but not much. I know it's like
It's
sexy and goopy, or not sexy, but there is sex in it. Right.
but there's a lot going on in it.
Right. Okay.
Not going to spoil it for you, but I'm very excited for you to see it. It's one of those where I can't wait till you watch it and we can talk about it.
Cool.
He also did Silent Night, Deadly Night 4.
Yes, he did, and that's the weird bugs
Yeah.
one that almost has nothing to do with Christmas. It's about like bugs and witches. But when I listened to his commentary on it, I was surprised to hear that it was written as a Christmas movie. I really thought it was some script they just turned into a Christmas movie, but nope. So it's just a
No,
Christmas movie
I
that
don't-
doesn't really talk about it. So
No,
there you go.
no.
So Brian Yuzna, and then Stuart Gordon, of course, who directed this and wrote it with a couple other guys. But then, yeah, like you said, there's kind of a team here. Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs did a lot of stuff with those two guys together.
And the guy that did the music, Richard Brand. I looked him
Oh.
up because the music in this is so fucking cool.
It is.
He did Ghoulies and Troll too.
Right.
Not Troll 2, but the
Troll
Troll that
as
actually
well.
has trolls in it.
Now he's
Yeah, as
his
well.
his last name is Band, so he is one of the guys. The Band family is who runs Full Moon Pictures that makes all the Little People movies. Like all the Puppet Masters and Ginger Dead Man and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think he's one of them.
That's a movie I got to rewatch again too.
Puppet
For
Master?
sure. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
I like it. And I've only seen the first two. There's like 15 of them or something, so
Oh God, there's so
whatever.
many.
And yeah, but you mentioned H.P. Lovecraft. So this was based off his stuff, From Beyond, which is also made by pretty much the exact same people. And then also another one made by the same team, Castle Freak, all based on H.P. Lovecraft, and more. Stuart Gordon was kind of obsessed with H.P. Lovecraft, and a lot of his movies are based on Lovecraft stuff. Have you ever read any H.P. Lovecraft?
I haven't, and it's one of those authors where I would try to remind myself to buy one of his books, but then I would end up getting something else. So I would still love to. That's what I should do this year. 'Cause I
Read
said I
his
was going to
stuff.
read more this year. I'm trying to get through Interview with the Vampire. I'm halfway through it from last year. I haven't even read. I didn't even read a full book last year, so maybe that's what I'm going to do this year. Is maybe I'll read this. I'll read this. What this movie's based on.
There you go.
That'll be
I mean,
cool.
they're short stories, so it shouldn't
Yeah.
take you too long. I think it's like 40 pages
No.
or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a book of Lovecraft. At least I used to. I don't know if I still do or not. And I just never got around to it. And then you'd hear about what a prick he was, and I was like, and that would throw me off.
Oh
But
no.
oh yeah, he was like major racist, like super duper.
That I said to myself, I'll try to read it when I'm on the train, but now that the trains are so fucking nuts, I have to be paying attention to what's going on the entire time I'm on the train, just in
Why?
case some shit goes down.
Oh, okay.
Because riding the train, there's always like some fucking crazy person on there. You got people like riding the train with knives
Ugh.
and people getting shot on the train and just people losing their fucking mind and fighting and people getting set on fire recently, like multiple people being set on fire while they're
What?
riding the train. So you got to pay attention. I don't want to have my head in my phone or in a book. I want to be like looking up and listening and being vigilant because it's crazy out there.
It's crazy out there, kids.
Yep.
That's crazy. So talking about Richard Band, who did the music, related to Albert Band is his dad. Charles Band is his brother. Charles Band is the main dude behind Full Moon Features. What I just found out, there's this band called The Calling. They had like a kind of pop hit about 20 years ago. Wherever you will go. Do you remember that song? It's not good.
Can you sing more of it though?
No.
Is that all you remember?
I've lived here, but then wherever you will go, and I've with my heart, something like that. It's not good. But what I did not know is that the lead singer and guitarist from that band is Alex Band, who's also he's the son of Richard Band. So that is very strange to me. That the Puppet Master movie studio had some skin in the game for like shitty adult top 40 pop rock in the 2000s. So there you go.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And the music in this, did it remind you of anything? Because every once in a while I would be going, this music, I mean, obviously since he's done music for a bunch of other movies that we know of, but I don't know why, but it made me think of like the Gremlins for some reason. Mm-hmm. Just because the music is it's kind of loud in this movie, no?
Yeah.
And is it just me?
No, it definitely, I don't know if it reminds me of Gremlins. It definitely reminds me of Jaws.
Oh, yeah.
And the credits of this, that's one of the things I wrote down that I wanted to mention, is the credits are awesome. It's this crazy music over all these weird, biological drawings of things, like science drawings, anatomical drawings. That's what I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved how this movie opened with the doctor losing a patient and then straight into that crazy ass music.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a good setup. Good setup.
And you know what? And like you said, it goes right into it. That's the whole movie. The movie doesn't... There's no fucking around out here. The Re-Animator just
nope.
gets right to it. And it's short. It's like 86 minutes, so it's pretty short. But it's, it opens up in Switzerland. And there's these guys, the cops are going to barge into this lab. And you don't know why. And then, of course, it turns out the doctor in there is like dead or whatever, and somebody else is administering to him. And it's Herbert West who ends up being the main character. But then the guy right away they have this awesome death or whatever you want to call it, where he the doctor who you think is dead gets up and his face is his eyes are shut and everything, his whole face is bulging and shit, right?
Yeah, I wrote down his eyeballs are exploding. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and it's 2 minutes into the movie. Yeah, it's what a great way to start.
They're just like, if this movie's going to have this kind of shit going on, I am down for this ride.
And do you feel like it continued to have that kind of shit going on?
Yeah, and it just got crazier and crazier.
It sure does. And another thing I love is that Herbert West is I don't know, he's such an unlikable character that maybe it comes around full circle, and that's why I like him. Because he's just an asshole to everyone. And the first thing he's doing when you first meet him, and there's this dead guy and the cops are here and they're pulling him off this guy, the first thing he says I have to finish taking my notes or whatever. He's he just doesn't give a fuck about anybody. I love that about him.
Yeah, and he maintains it the whole movie too.
Mm-hmm. And into the sequels. I've only seen the second one, but yes, it's the same shit. Just keeps going.
My work is the most important thing.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, if in this day and age, it'd be he'd probably be the most famous scientist who is also that far into the spectrum, because he's just so he's definitely got something happening up there. Yeah, and he, it's pretty clear that he has done something to make this scientist, other guy, come back to life and be gross and horrible. Did you catch the doctor's name? Dr. Gruber, right? Because they say that a few times. But his full name is Dr.
Hans Gruber.
It's Hans Gruber. And that's the name of the villain in Die Hard. That's Alan Rickman's character in Die Hard. Now, Die Hard was made 4 or 5 years after this, so I would assume that it's a reference to that. To the people that wrote Die Hard, maybe were like, maybe it's reference to the book, maybe it's reference to this. I don't know, but I'm like, I doubt that's an accident.
Yeah,
like,
no.
That character's named after this one, gotta be. So.
Gotta be. I mean, that is such a specific name.
Yeah, very strange. And then, it just cuts to those credits. And then it's at this school where that's where pretty much the entire rest of the movie is going to take place. But I think this school is something H.P. Lovecraft made up and was in a lot of his books. Miskatonic University, right? It's got to be made up.
Miskatonic. Yeah, that's totally made up.
That's not a real school.
No.
Right?
I was gonna say probably my favorite character in this whole movie is the cop that's guarding the morgue.
The security guard?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. He's terrible at his job.
He always has a fucking cigar in his mouth, and then I wrote down. He says, "I love this line that he says at the beginning." When Dan is taking the body to the morgue, he goes, "I don't know why they keep doors locked around here. Nobody walks in and ain't nobody getting out."
Right. It's like, and it seems like he was just like, the only thing he does in his job is he just waits for someone to come by so he can say that joke. He's always ready.
That, and he's reading a porno at one point too. I wrote down the name for it because it made me laugh, but maybe we'll get to that later.
I forget it was silly.
It was really silly. I was like, is he reading a porno? He is.
Yeah.
But I only say that now because I was I was like, wait a second, wasn't Barbara Crampton in Playboy? And I was right. She was.
Yeah. I think after this, though.
Yeah, in 86.
Oh, was it? Okay.
It was in 86, and her thing was Simply Beastly. Behind every successful monster, there's a woman.
Yeah.
Hell fucking yeah.
Have you seen the pictures?
I was looking at them.
Yeah. What's crazy is obviously she's very good looking. And so they're easy pictures to look at, except almost all the pictures also have like weird fucking monsters and shit in them. Like, what if that was that's your job that day, is like, I got to put on this weird goblin mask and like hang out right behind Barbara Crampton's wet naked body while they take pictures. Well, but I guess, that's that world, But
remember when, I always forget the actress's name, but when Scully was with the creature from the Black Lagoon, like
Gillian
those
Anderson.
photos?
That picture, yes.
Holy fuck.
Wait, didn't you say that that's what made you realize you're bisexual? Or maybe that's somebody else.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Was that you?
It helped.
Well, it might have been you, but everybody, that picture's so sexy. And some other lady I know is like, that's one of the things that made me like realize that, like, girls at least a little bit. Maybe it was you, it might have been someone else, but either way, I get it. So he's very bad at his job. But the other thing I wrote about him always reading a porno magazine is just in general in movies, especially 80s movies, there's always a character, not always, but very often a character reading a porno magazine, right? And when these people, and there's generally a dude, and when it's, except in Slumber Party Massacre when they make it a woman on purpose because they flip almost everything gender in that movie. Anyways, but generally it's a guy reading a porno mag, and they're just reading it. And I always thought that's crazy because that is, that's not what I do with those. You know what I mean?
And that what people's excuses were, is that I don't just get them for the pictures. I also need to get them for the articles.
And that, though, is Playboy, and I think maybe Hustler or Penthouse had art writing too. But a lot of those are not that. A lot of those are just like, hey, you want to see inside a vagina? Turn to page 6. You know?
Yeah. You knew I was in Hustler, right?
What? You were in Hustler?
I think I still have it. Yeah.
What? Like naked pictures, or was it part of the... What? I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Me. So yeah, this is a crazy side story, but this is why I think this show's good when we talk, because we find all these things out about each other.
Yes. Wow.
So it was after I did Top Model. I got a call from one of my dad's friends who said, "You're in Hustler. Did you know that you were in it?" And I went, "No." So me and Eric or me and a friend I was living with at the time, ran down to the porno shop, grabbed Hustler, and just a couple pages in, and yep, there I was. It was a photo from the show that got a little bit of pushback because it's me naked with body paint. And then a guy kneeling down next to me holding an apple, and he's kind of offering it to me. Well, another publication had posted that photo from the show, but the guy's balls were showing, and they didn't somehow it got through with it just got through and got what do you call it when you magazines, actual physical media, when it got published. So they actually published that photo in Hustler with the guy's balls hanging out.
Because they could. Because it was Hustler.
Because they could. And so, yeah, I have a Hustler that I'm in. Not by choice, but I feel pretty proud about it.
Well, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, who can say that? And especially, like, you know, you hear things about Hustler or Penthouse. You didn't have to do anything gross. I mean, you didn't even know you were taking a photo for Hustler. So whatever. You know what I mean? And you have body paint on. So it's not really... Does that count as a naked picture? I guess. I don't know.
I mean, my boobs are in it, but they're covered in paint. And you can't see my hoochie coochie.
Hoochie coochie. Okay. Well, it's like an Adam and Eve kind of thing. Is that what it is? Like
yes.
An apple and stuff?
Yes.
Okay. So do you have like leaves over your hoochie coochie? Is that what it was?
I'm just the way that I'm standing.
Oh,
my
one of
leg
those.
is covering it, but you can see part of my butt, and you can see all my boob.
But they're covered, but it's in paint,
body
so
paint.
I suppose because like I think Sports Illustrated does it in their swimsuit issue now. They have, although having been a teenage boy when it was before the internet, I could tell you that the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue does feature nipples if you're trying. You know, if you really want to see nipples, you got to just know where to look. Yeah, well, that's an amazing story. So and I think we may have gotten an interview with Whitest Kids and Playgirl, maybe. I feel like I remember somebody knowing someone who worked at Playgirl or something, and at one point Playgirl wanted to do comedy, something about comedy. So there might be like an article about us in there. There's not a picture. You can't see our wieners or anything like that, but I believe. So I think so. Oh, and I one time did an interview with Playboy about my sex life or something at the time, but it didn't get published because obviously it's not exciting. You know, so it's like,
damn.
fuck it, whatever.
Then you could have oh man.
We would have had this weird...
I mean, there's still time.
Porno. There's still time. Yeah, Playboy, you definitely want to hear about my sex life now, where it'll just be me counting the days it's been since last time. Anyways. 708, 709. Anyways, I don't know. I'm sure it's up that high. But okay, well, that's crazy. And why were we talking? Oh, we were talking about that because the security guard in Re-Animator is, I think more than once, is seen reading a porno thing. And yeah, he just doesn't really pay attention. And Dan's bringing in this dead body because Dr. Dan was trying very hard to bring this lady to life, and it didn't work. And another doctor, who's actually Stuart Gordon's wife, Carolyn, was like, hey, you need to just chill out sometimes, man. Sometimes people die. So that's kind of where we meet. He's the main character, kind of, right? And so that's his thing. He's like a normal guy, but he does have this thing where he wishes he could help people not die. Right?
Yeah, Dr. Dan. I mean, I would hope if I was on the table, that a doctor would try that hard to revive me. You know what I mean? Taking the extra effort.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I mean, so the lady's right, because you're a doctor, you got to be around. I mean, this happens. Death is part of your job. It's got to be so fucking hard to do that, to say, okay, I have to just let this person be dead. You know? So I get what she's saying, but also, yes, obviously you want the doctor to try everything, you know, to not let me die. And speaking about nudity, kudos to the lady playing the corpse in that first scene. Yeah. She's a big lady. Her boobs are all over the place, and it's not flattering, and it's obviously a very strange scene. So and there's a lot of naked people in it, because there's dead bodies that come to life, and they're cadavers, and they're naked.
Yeah, there is a lot of nudity in this.
Yeah, there's dicks and butts and all of them. I watched this with commentary about a year ago, and I don't remember. I should have maybe checked it out again and watched it with commentary again, because it's a great one. It's Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs. But then also, I forget, it's a great one. Maybe Brian Yesna's in there. I think Yesna's in there. And maybe Stuart Gordon's wife, the lady I just mentioned. Anyways, so they're talking about that, and I think they were like hiring it might have been stage actors, I think, because I don't know how much research he did, but, you know, Stuart Gordon was like a theater guy. That's where he came from.
Oh, I didn't know that, no.
You didn't know? Yeah, it's cool. So he wrote the Re-Animator as a play, and then he couldn't get that to work, so then he wrote it as a TV pilot, apparently, and then it finally found life as a movie, which is probably why it's so quick and to the point. I am not quite sure what kind of play this would be.
I know, when you said play, I thought, man, if they could get that going, I'd be in the front row.
Yeah.
Wow. They could do it now. You could do it.
Yeah, you probably could now. In fact, they probably have. And I think they did make a Re-Animator musical based on the movie, you know, so like going backwards. But I'm sure they have. They've done that with a lot of horror films now. But it does make sense when you think about it, because there's only 3 or 4 locations in this movie. The morgue is a big one. The basement at Herbert and Dan's apartment, their living room, Dr. Hill's office, those are kind of the main 4 places where things take place, right?
I think that's it. I think you just named them all. I think you named every...
well, Dan's bedroom, Dr. Dan's bedroom, Daniel Kane, because that's where we first meet his girlfriend, who's Barbara Crampton. And
I liked how she was introduced, because they're in the school, because they're going to school together, right?
Oh, right. She's in school first. Yeah.
Yeah, and he bites her neck, almost like a zombie, you know, would, or Dracula would bite someone's neck, and she makes this weird screech, and her screech goes into her screeching while they're making passionate love. It was like such a good edit.
Right, she's going, no, then yes. That's what they do.
Yeah, it was a cool edit.
Good. Yeah. She has her boobs out right away in that scene. So, and I think this was maybe her first big movie, and it's like, hey, another hubba lady is on the scene, horror movies, you know, so get ready. I wrote down Barbara Crampton's one of the only people that can make me say, Lene who? So...
with the Talking Heads poster, which was really cool too.
Yes, and I only caught the little double entendre there this time watching it. I'm like, oh, there's a fucking talking head later in this movie.
I
never caught that.
I love when production throws in shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't know who said they should put that in there, but fucking kudos to you, because I love shit like that so much.
Oh, yeah. Me too. But yeah, they're just some college kids. They're bright. They're young. They're attractive. They're humping. And, but it's kind of normal college life. And then they meet the new student, Herbert West, you first meet him in the morgue, right? Doesn't Dr. Hill bring him right in? Yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, this is the. Isn't he the kid that they got why they got the grant for the school,
Dr.
and that's why
Hill.
he's there? Or was it Dr.
No,
Hill?
Dr. Hill is their grant machine, which means his work gets them funding
That's
to do
right.
more stuff. They have Herbert West because, as we see in the beginning of the movie, he gets in trouble for killing his professor and bringing him back to life or whatever the fuck he did. And so I don't know if he got in trouble or ran away. I'm thinking he ran off because
Yeah.
when this movie ends, you don't know exactly what's happened to him. But when the next movie begins, if I remember right, he has once again just ran away to a different country. So it's kind of his MO.
Yeah, and he immediately just starts talking shit to Dr. Hill too, which was like,
Yeah.
okay, dude. He basically
Yeah.
tells him like, you're a fucking hack.
Yeah. Not even a nice to meet you. He's just like, oh, you're Dr. Hill. I worked with Dr. Gruber, and you just plagiarized his work, and you pretty much suck ass. Anyways, I'm going to see you in class, It's like, fuck, man. That's why I like him. He's such a fucking dickhead to everybody.
Yeah.
It never stops.
Nope.
And I wonder if that's like, because obviously he is very brilliant. He's a brilliant scientist. He comes up with this formula that you can inject into a dead body and it can bring them back to life. Generally, they have to be recently dead, but anyway, so he's obviously very talented and very smart, but also it just feeds this like arrogance. And it's like he probably only learned all this shit because he's so arrogant. He's like, I'm the best. I can learn this stuff because I'm fucking the best.
Man, when he's in class and he just keeps like breaking the pencils.
Yes.
Just being a fucking dick. I was like, God, what a fuck. I'd be like, get the fuck out of my class, you fucking asshole.
Yeah. Because Professor Hill is a major piece of shit, but we don't know that about him yet. He doesn't really. The more time the character gets on screen, the more you realize he sucks. But at first, he just kind of seems like some guy, right? They don't really make him out to be bad yet.
Yeah, I'm like, why are you giving this guy so much shit? Like, you're in his class.
Yeah.
He's the grant machine. Maybe pay attention. Maybe you'll get something from what he has to say. You're just sitting here, have already made up your mind about this guy. But what I was going to say is, so in that scene, Dr. Hill is showing everybody in class how to like remove the skin from the head and get the bone saw to get into the brain. And I just wanted to give a shout out to my niece Ashley. She listens to this. She just had her skull opened up and cut open for the second time.
Whoa.
Just recently, and had a bit of a tumor removed. She had these gnarly fucking staples in her head from side to side. So she's recovering well. They got everything. She's a fucking badass. But I wrote the word kismet down because I'm like, how fucking crazy is it that a fan picked this movie? It got picked out of a bowl. And it's talking about stuff that's one of my family members, like, just kind of going through that right now.
So, I mean, so that must be what they do even when they're a living specimen, is they peel their head back like that? Holy shit, man.
Well, what they do is they shaved a line from ear to ear. It's about an inch thick line. And then, they use a bone saw. When I wrote this, I wrote, not the bone saw. And they cut you open and then they, peel back the skin and probe your brain.
That gives me the shivers right up and down my spine. It just did. Oh, that's that poor girl, but she's doing okay.
Yeah, I mean, she's been through it once before, so she knew what to expect, which is like such a crazy thing to say. Like, oh, I've been through this before.
That's crazy.
But you just get she was getting really nauseous and throwing up a lot afterwards. For like, recovery is not fun after getting your brain opened up. So,
yeah, I imagine.
Glad you're doing good, Ashley. Love you.
Good job. Send pics. Don't. Just kidding. Please.
Oh, dude, they're gnarly. She posted them on Instagram. They're
Oh,
fucking
really?
gnarly.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. I don't think I'd never even for a second in my life considered wanting to be in any medical field because I just, oof, you know?
Yeah. Heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
Heebie-jeebies.
PB and GBs, yes. Oof, duh. Yeah, but yeah, so there's that scene, and then Herbert's just staring at him, breaking these pencils, and then the doctor starts kind of, like his lecture starts kind of changing and getting aggravated and kind of making pointed remarks towards Dr. West, and it's just like, if I was one of the other students at the school, I'd be like, what the fuck am I paying you guys for? You know what I mean? Like you're just helping harbor this grudge between these two fucking egomaniacs, and I am trying to become a doctor. What? Why? What? You know?
Yeah, I'd be annoyed. I'm trying to learn. Shut up.
Yeah. Like, go fuck each other later. That's probably what you really need to do. You know, get all your aggression out. Of the old men characters, there's kind of two main ones. The other one is Barbara Crampton's character's dad. Why'd I forget her name? They say her name a million times in the movie. What's her name in the movie?
Megan.
Megan, thank you. Jeez. Anyways, so Megan's dad, who's the dean, Dean Halsey, and the character, like, the dean is not a bad person. He seems, for all intents and purposes, to be a good guy, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. He's maybe a little too controlling about his daughter's sex life.
He is incredibly controlling of her.
Right, yeah. Because
Yeah.
he's like trying to tell her who to date and who not to date, and yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I love him. I'm going to marry him. It's actually their fiancés, right? Like,
oh, right, they're engaged.
I think even
yes,
Dan
yes.
says that.
Yes.
So it's like, hello?
Yeah,
Why?
like,
I mean, I guess Dad probably didn't like the fact that they're engaged because he gives him no empathy or sympathy about anything.
I think he's okay with him right away, but then when it turns out that he's been helping Herbert West do some weird shit, that's when the dad's like, that's when he tells Megan, like, yo, this guy's fucked up. Like, he might have been okay with him before that, I think. I don't know. They don't really go into it too much. But, like, when they're having dinner at his house and Dan comes over to pick her up, he doesn't seem too concerned about it, you know?
Oh my God, I like that scene because that's when I realized Dr. Hill had a thing for Megan.
Yes.
Is because, they're like, oh, we're going to Dan's house to study. And they both smile and you're like, yeah, you guys are going to go have some sex. And you can tell Dr. Hill's like a little bit jealous of it, of like their relationship.
He's got a weird look on his face.
Yeah. And he goes, well, why don't you just study here? You can study here. And they're like, no. I'm like, what a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, because, I mean, you're right. Because what he probably meant there was like, then I could sneak up and look at you fucking. You know?
Ew.
Right? That's probably what he meant.
Yeah. Ew.
Because we do find out later that he is super duper obsessed with Megan and has a fucking file on her with like her hair in it. And
dude, her hair and like high school photos.
Yeah, and high school photos. And wasn't there a piece of her clothes, like a piece of fabric or something?
Yeah, it was a really nasty file.
It was definitely underwear, right? Do you think he stole her underwear from somewhere?
Well, I mean, if he's having dinner at their house, like, he's probably been in her room.
You're probably right. She leaves with her boyfriend to study, and he's probably like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. Then he goes upstairs and takes her panties out of the hamper or whatever.
Oh, my God.
Because he wouldn't want clean ones. So.
Oh, he's probably smelling them and jacking off.
Oh, God.
Gross.
I've never gotten the dirty panties thing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Can't you
just
buy worn underwear out
yes
from? Yeah, you can buy it online, right?
Yeah. And that guy's got that actor David Gale has a good look to him. He kind of looks like Frankenstein, and so it only helps when he becomes a monster later.
Yeah, and I wrote that down, and I thought that a couple times. I was like, this reminds me of Frankenstein, and him specifically with how he looks gaunt. And he's super tall, skinny, and he's got that really cool kind of old Hollywood voice.
Yes.
Every time he was on screen, I was just thinking of all the old horror movie classic films.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good call.
He would have made a cool Dracula.
Totally.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a Christopher Lee vibe. Christopher Lee was a great Dracula. So, but good call on the whole old Frankenstein-ish thing. Because, yes, this movie is very much like that. And do you know what the name of the sequel is? It's Bride of Re-Animator.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So they're really wearing their influences on their sleeves. But
Love it.
that movie is about them. Well, I mean, I know, whatever. Megan dies at the end of this movie. BT dubs. And then it's a brilliant, brilliant ending. So the second one is about him trying to bring her back to life and everything. And but Barbara Crampton's not in it, but they end up like reconstructing her body from different dead people's parts and stuff. So,
Oh, like in the movie Pieces.
yeah. And in Bride of Frankenstein. Yeah, but yes, Pieces too. But this one, I mean, this one's pretty much classic, and it's like it's not even hard to talk about the plot because it's like very straightforward. When he picks her up from dinner, then they go to his house, and that's when they meet Herbert West, right? That's when he comes over to rent the room, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was just really upset what happened to Rufus, his cat.
Yes.
But also cool that they chose it as a black cat, which I thought was cool. I mean, it was just a cat that they were going to bring back to life. It could have been an orange cat, calico cat, whatever. But having a black cat in a horror movie, you have to have a black
Always
one.
a good choice. Well, and this movie does a good job of like being spooky with things, right? Well, because it's like, I don't know if you noticed this, the address of their apartment building. Did you happen to catch that? Because I did this time.
So I saw it, and then I made a point to go back, and because I thought it was something significant, but then I forgot.
It's 666 Darkmoor. It's like, okay, we get it, so definitely, I don't think there was any chance of the cat not being black when you have people like that make this movie, you know what I mean? They're like, it has to be a black cat, especially since it ends up being like a creepy monster for a little bit.
Oh, but like when they're like trying to attack him when he's come back to life, and then like he like throws him against the wall. Oh, the thud sound. God.
Yeah.
It's
There's some good gore and some sound effects. Because later they throw a severed head against a wall, and you just see like brains and shit splat against the wall, and, like kind of fall off. And it's great. But what one great thing about when they first notice the cat's missing is Dan, the handsome hero doctor guy, is so like he's upset about it, that he really loved this pet, and you don't really see that, especially with men in movies, very often.
No, you don't. But he was really upset. I was really upset.
Barbara Crampton was upset. Yeah. Dr. Dan is upset. Nobody's happy about this because Herbert's pissed because they're in his room. They're like, he comes in there. Barbara Crampton, they've been looking for the cat. She opens his cooler. It's filled with all of his green magical Re-Animator liquid and the dead cat, dead Rufus. And he comes in there, and the first thing he says, like, "What are you doing in my room?" It's like, really, man?
Well, his whole fucking gaslighting Dan is just so horrible. When it's like, he's like, "Yeah, I found the cat like this. He got like his head stuck in something, and he was dead, and I didn't want to tell you." It's like, why didn't you say anything? He's like, "Oh, because." Long hours at the hospital. I think
hold on, Shandi, hold on. Somebody's knocking on my door or something. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Goddamn kids! Okay, so, my daughter's mom lives nearby. So my daughter and her sister and their other friend thought it'd be a good idea to get in their snow gear. And she knew I was recording. She knew what window I sit at. So they came in like were tapping on the window to scare the shit out of me. So good job, girls.
Good job, girls.
Yeah, they scared me. And now I'm not gonna feed her dinner. Well, you gotta put your authority down somewhere. But yeah, it's But yes, Herbert definitely just gaslights Dan into going along with him. And when and then his girlfriend, Barbara Crampton's like, well, but are you sure he should live with you and all this stuff? And after Herbert's convinced him, Dan's pretty much telling him, like, well, he has a penis, so he must be telling the truth, is kind of what it comes off as. It's like just men teaming up with each other, you know?
Yeah, and then him being like, I'm gonna like fucking tell on you and all this bullshit. Like,
yeah,
oh, you're fucking the
blackmailing
dean's
them.
daughter and all this. I was like, shut up,
Yeah.
asshole.
Yeah, he's just a scumbag. And like, and the thing is it's like, you know, he is well aware the entire movie that he's never in the right. He's like killing people and reanimating them. He's murdering his roommate's pet. He's like stealing dead bodies and stuff. Like, you know, he's truly a mad scientist, you know?
Yeah, he's not following any sort of protocol
No.
of science. Like,
Right.
yeah, he doesn't. He just knows that he's seen little bits and glimpses of results,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't care at all about anything.
No.
He just wants to see how far he can push it.
So he lets him live with him, basically under threat of blackmail, and he just comes in with a bunch of cash, which, okay, if he's got all this cash, like, he definitely stole that from dead people, too, right? I mean, there's no way he doesn't have a paper route, you know what I mean? Like, he's definitely gotten this money through, well, maybe through grants and stuff, you know? That's how a lot of those scientist types actually live, you know? So.
Mm-hmm. No, but
Yeah.
he sadly does kind of rope Dan into his crazy experiments because he follows him to the morgue.
Shortly after what you were just talking about, the dean shows up there and accidentally dies. And they reanimate him, and he's got this, like, he's bugging his eyes out, like, ah! And, like, it's not funny, though, it's sad. You know? And it's sad because you see Barbara Crampton being so upset that her dad's, like, this weird... She doesn't know what's wrong with him at first. She doesn't know that he's dead. So she just knows that something's happened to him, and he's this, like, vegetable now. That's one thing I like about it is they don't ever they don't really explain how any of this works.
No, and they don't really know either.
No.
Yeah, and I guess they hadn't really tested on humans yet because he's just like, damn it, it's not working. Fuck,
Right.
I gotta give him. And then they give him, what, 2 doses? And
Yeah.
then he starts to... Man, the scene with the freak out is so good.
Yeah, they're like walking away. They're like, well, this guy, it's not going to work. Shit. And then he just pops up screaming, right? He's just immediately like, ah!
Oh, man, whatever this serum does to humans, all the blood and foam that starts coming out of like their mouth. Oh, it's so gross.
Let's talk about the serum for a second because, you know, they don't explain the science and they definitely never explain the serum. And at one point, Herbert's just, Dr. West, whatever, is like, yeah, well, there's all these important reagents in it. And reagent is a term for, you know, ingredients in a potion or elixir of some kind. But that's all you get. And it's always interesting to me. I'm like, what do you think is in it? Because it glows green.
Yeah, it made me think of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Totally.
Like
me too.
toxic waste.
Yep, it looks just like the ooze.
Yeah.
From TSR Industries.
Super, super bright neon.
Yeah. In fact, well, that last shot of the movie, when he's injecting his dead girlfriend with it, it fades to black, and the last thing to fade out is that glowing green little rectangle. And then you see it get smaller because it means he's pushing the liquid into his girlfriend, you know?
So cool.
It's so cool. But yeah, so, you know, like, what do you think, what could be in this? I don't know much about chemistry. I don't know much about science, but I'm just like, what the hell would be in here that would do this?
Well, the fact that, like, he doesn't care who he hurts or anything to figure this out, who fucking knows? It could have stem cells. Babies in it.
You know what? Like, adrenochrome, I bet. Human adrenaline.
Yeah, because he has like that Hulk like fucking strength when he's throwing hit the dad across the room.
Yes.
And, God, there's a lot of thuds
Yeah.
against walls. And
Yeah,
we said
yeah.
this already, but no,
but there's a lot. Yeah. There's but yeah, the dead bodies come back with like super strength in some cases or something. And yeah, so that's
But
a good
there's
one.
mind control too, right?
Well, yeah, when the
A little bit.
So Dr. Hill throughout the movie is developing this new laser lobotomy tool.
Oh man, that little gun was cool.
Yeah, and what he finds out is that when he takes the laser tool to drill into their brain and then shoots the Re-Animator liquid into that area of the brain, then he's able to bring the dead bodies back to life, but also control them. Yeah, so but yes, I don't know what liquid would do that, or maybe just about what brain it is. For some reason, I keep going back to like, there's got to be garlic in it, and I don't know why I think that. Like,
well, I you know what? It's funny that you say that because I did have a moment where I also thought of Dracula and blood sucking because when Dr. Hill it's just his head and then his body without the head is trying to like move around and grab shit, and Hill's just neck and head with, I guess, just like look like some veins and tendrils and things
some
stick
stuff,
at the bottom.
Yeah.
When he stuck him in the metal pan, and then he grabs blood bags to squeeze them in. That's what made me think of a vampire.
Yes.
I was like, so he knows that his head has to be sitting in this?
Yeah, he needs blood for his head.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
What's also funny about that is they're still in his office when that happens. And so he sends his body to open up this little fridge he has in his office with blood bags in it. I'm like, is that a normal thing if you work at a hospital? You have like blood in your office just in case? I guess.
I don't think
know.
it's supposed to be in your office.
Yeah, he is. He's got his own agenda, doesn't really care about the rules, because like we said, he also was obsessed with the daughter and had this weird file about her. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that scene, that's a good call, because it is very Dracula-y, if that's a word. And they dump, the blood into his tray, and then he's like, and
yes.
yeah, and what's also funny about that is like it doesn't super duper make sense, but but at that point you don't care, because at that point,
it didn't make sense at all.
No, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at that point, because what's happened at that point is like after the cat and after they're in the morgue the first time and they reanimate this guy, Megan's dad comes in, the dean. He's like, "What are you fucking idiots doing?" And that's when he's already against Dan, knowing that he works with Herbert West. Well, now he finds him working with them, and he's knocking on this door. They can't get out the door, and this undead guy's going to kill them. And the guy just knocks the door over. What a horrible way to die. Just squished under a door.
Yeah, getting trampled on.
Yeah. Ugh. And of course, Herbert doesn't give a fuck that he just killed this guy's future father-in-law or Megan's dad. And then he's working in the lab again, in his lab at their house. And then Dr. Hill comes over being like, "I'm going to steal all your research." And so he cuts his head off with a shovel. And that's how it all gets to what we're talking about. But so at that point, the reason I bring all that up is because at that point, you don't really care about why he's drinking blood. It's just like, well, this is all just awesome and crazy now. So whatever,
Yeah, I'm into it. Whatever this is.
Yeah, I like it.
It's fun. But poor Dan, man, after what happens to Megan's dad, he just curls up into a fetal position on the floor.
Oh yeah, he like basically goes into shock.
Yeah.
They say that like, later.
What the fuck? Why? Like, this guy's life has just done a fucking 180.
Yeah, in like 2 days.
Yeah, since this fucking stupid asshole Herbert showed up, his life has just fucking fallen apart.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? Is in the sequel, he's still friends. They're still friends. They still work together.
What?
Yeah, it's like, well, the bride of Re-Animator, it's not Herbert's bride. Dan intends to marry her because it's the heart and brain from Megan or whatever. So yeah, he even gets a little crazier maybe. Yeah.
Jeez, they're meant for each other then.
Yeah, totally. It is a bromance a little bit. you know?
Yeah.
They kind of, I mean, like you said, Herbert blackmails his way into Dan's life, but also Dan gets intrigued by the work, and like I said earlier, the first thing you know about Dan is that he very strongly wants to save lives, and so this is him seeing a way up about that, I guess.
Yeah, you could see how he would be influenced very easily by the thought of being able to bring people back.
Yeah.
Especially people's loved ones.
Yeah, and it is an intriguing thought. What if you could do that? Shit, there's people I bring back. So I guess Trevor. Obviously Trevor.
Actually, well, yeah. After they reanimate the first guy, and he's just fucking annihilating everything in this room.
Yeah.
I actually, it made me think about The Crow, because there's an extra on the DVD. There's a bonus feature where there's an interview with Brandon Lee, and he's kind of talking about his role as Eric Draven. And he's like, and he said something that just made me think of what he said, where he said, like, how do you know what you would do if you came back? Like, how do you know how you would act or how you would be? I don't know. It just made me think that. So it's like, it's interesting that scientists and doctors, like you have no idea what you're going to deal with.
Yeah.
When you bring people back from the dead.
Yeah. They've been to the other side, whatever that is. And now you're bringing them back from that.
Yeah. And then after this, and the guy kills someone, he doesn't stop.
Right.
You've been shown what this serum is going to do, and he just fucking keeps going. I would have been like, maybe we need to reassess. Let's stop and reassess.
No, he goes right back to his lab, and like that's when you see him next. Is like he's like in his lab, like, I wonder what, like messing with the figures. It's like, okay, so we're not just abandoning this after we brought a human back to life and he murdered the dean of the campus. Okay, fine. Yeah. Well, because they also reanimate the dad right there, too, because then Barbara Crampton's coming down, Megan is coming down, so they reanimate the dad to try and hide all the shit they've been up to.
Well, and he's even a fresher specimen.
Yeah, and that's Herbert's only scientific interest. He doesn't care about bringing this girl's dad back to life, and he doesn't care about not getting Dan in trouble. That's why Dan wants to reanimate the dad,
and he just seems like it's just a cowering. He seems like he's been lobotomized, or they think he's like a mental patient now because he's got a straitjacket on.
Yeah,
and they're observing him. But it's interesting that the fresher the specimen, the less violent. It went from like crazy violence to now just kind of being a little scared. About being back. Like he's freaked out now.
Yeah, but he's still unruly. And then later they reveal Dr. Hill does give him a lobotomy later, and then he's just kind of like,
docile. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a weird point. So it's like, it's like for that guy, in the case of that guy, the dean, so he's only dead for like a minute or something. So how quickly does all this shit in your body stop functioning correctly? Because he's only dead for a minute and they bring him back and he's still barely a shadow of his former self. So what did he lose in that minute,
Yeah, because he kind of is still responding to Barbara Crampton's character, Megan. Yeah. Sorry, Megan.
Yeah.
Because she keeps yelling at him like, Dad, Dad, Dad. And he does fight for her at the end, which is fucking bad fucking ass.
It's so good. It's so good. And he's like jamming his thumbs into people's eyes and stuff. He really goes for the gusto.
I do want to mention too how really cool the kill of Dr. Hill is, and you mentioned it with the shovel, but holy shit, oh, it was so good.
Yeah, because he comes into Herbert's lab. He's like basically saying, "I'm taking this, or else I'll turn you into the cops." Is basically what he's saying, right? And Herbert can't stand that, of course. So first chance he gets, he goes and finds a shovel and sneaks up on him and hits him, and then fucking chops his head off with it. And that's the kill you're talking about, right? The first time he dies.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's really nasty. And,
It's fucked up.
it's not surprising that Dr. Herbert would do this because it's made clear at that point he only cares about his science. He doesn't give a shit about anybody. He'll do anything. But it's still kind of a pretty shocking death.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
And then he's like, starts going back to do then he's like, okay, Dr. Hill's dead. So he just goes right back to his work. But then he's like, wait a minute, whole parts. And so then he realizes, he's like, well, the body's in two pieces. What if I reanimate both things? So yeah, he injects the body, the headless body, but then he injects Dr. Hill's head. And that's a great bit that I love, and I wrote down because there's something strange I wanted to bring up. But so he has Doctor's head in this tray. He reanimates it, but he can't get it to stand up straight. He keeps trying to prop the head up and it falls over. Prop the head up and it falls over. So then he grabs a receipt spike. That's what that thing is. It's a little nail on a little stand that you have in your desk to put your receipts and important letters and stuff on, right? And so that's what he sets Dr. Hill's head on. And I've only ever seen those used for receipts, really. So I was thinking, okay, so why does he have a receipt spike? Because, does he plan to, turn in his expenses and get reimbursed at some point? What is he doing? Because he had stuff on it, too. He takes some pieces of paper off of it. So it's wait a minute. Does he think he can just claim this shit on his taxes? But yeah, but it also is, obviously who actually cares? You just roll with it when something like that happens. But I was just like, wait a minute, why does this fucking guy? But he does. He's so arrogant. He probably thinks that he still needs to do that. Because I can explain all this, So, but then when he does
a write off.
Yeah, he's like, this is fine. I have to write off the shovel. I have to write off hiding the body. But what he doesn't count on is that yes, it works, and that when you reanimate the head and the body, even though they're separate, they still can work together. So then the headless body comes up and knocks him out, and then they take off. Which he's lucky they didn't fucking murder him.
No, and I thought of the Headless Horseman. I mean,
yeah.
So we got Frankenstein, Dracula, the Headless Horseman. How many awesome classics are in this?
Good call.
So many.
And you know what? The second movie totally has mummy vibes, too. So, yeah.
Wow.
And
cool.
Mummy vibes and Bride of Frankenstein, because both of those classic monsters are wrapped up in bandages. So, yeah, no, that's what's cool about this, is it's definitely a modern for its time horror movie. It's super gory. It's got tits and swearing and all the stuff people want to see in 80s horror movies. But it's also got this old school creepy vibe from those movies. And yeah, like you said, there's a lot of references too, but a lot of those older movies, like the first Dracula, or you go way back like White Zombie and stuff like that, they're fucking creepy, and the bad guys in those are very immoral, just like these two bad guys are, Dr. West and Dr. Hill. And so it's kind of it's got vibes of an old movie, but done with the amazing practical effects and sweet boobs of an 80s horror movie, so.
And this is probably the only time I laughed really in this movie, is when just the campiness of Hill's head trying to control his headless body. It's just so funny.
It is. And because at that point you're just like, well, this is funny. And then he just gets so fucking sinister, But yeah, it's...
Oh, so on Dr. Hill's desk, and they show it earlier. Well, they show it a couple times, I think, where he's got that model head bust thing on his desk. Yeah. I laughed so hard when he put that on his headless body and put the mask on and walked into the morgue past the fucking guard. Yeah. I laughed so fucking hard.
That part's great because it's
funny.
It's like in a Little Rascals, like two kids getting in a trench coat kind of thing, And then so they go
ridiculous.
And yeah, they just get right past the guard. The guard's like, yeah, whatever, because he's reading his porno, whatever he's doing. And they go in there and they put her down and they strip her naked. And that's even just disturbing to see. But then so she wakes up and the first thing she sees is this body with this fucking mannequin head, which is, like you said, it's got exposed skeleton on it. And she's like, oh my God! And then a minute after that head rolls off of it because it was just sitting on it. It wasn't attached. So then she sees, oh, this is a headless body. What? Like, she's just freaking out, But that part is so funny. And because they did that on purpose to be funny, too. Like, that was very intentionally goofy, I love it.
It's just so funny. Like, just because the face on the bust it doesn't even really look like a face. I mean, hence they put the face mask on. No. But god damn, it was hilarious.
It looks really fake because it's like you saw that stuff in science class in high school. It's like the CPR mannequins. They don't make those things with the intent to fool people. They're trying to teach things. So it's just really funny that he did that.
And how convenient that the guard is never really paying attention, right?
Yeah.
So he's not like really looking at him anyways.
Which is too bad because the guy is clearly studying anatomy a lot in his porno magazines, right? So he would be able to know what's going on. But maybe that's the security guard story. He wanted to be a student at this school and he couldn't get he couldn't pass the test. So he's like, fine, well, I'll study my own way, reading pornography.
Well, he's looking at naked ladies and hence, and unbeknownst to him, there's a naked lady in the morgue.
A live one. He's missing out. Hey, man, you can see these boobies in 3D.
Oh, man, but it does. It goes from, like, me laughing to me being, like, really fucking freaked out.
Yeah. Because it's really, it's gross. And you see him have the idea at some point to get her, and it's like,
When Dad is in the little mental ward room and he's like, oh, I can help him, even though, he's not going to try to help him. And he's like, oh, just let me do whatever I need to do. And she's like, yeah, just do whatever you need to do. Okay. And he gives, you mentioned this already, he gives her dad his new technique of a lobotomy.
Right.
And then I think he takes her from the hospital.
He has the dad do it. You just know as soon as Hill has the idea to get her, you're just like, because they've already established that he's super obsessed with her. He has this weird file, a pervert file on her. And so you just know, like, oh my God, what is this going to be? Because he's headless. He's a monster.
When he's like explaining to her what he can do for her dad, he says these weird comments where he's like, so if you need anything or anybody, you need anybody to talk to, like, I want you to think of me. And her dad starts like pounding on the glass. Like, I know you got some weird, creepy ass shit. Like, stay the fuck away from my daughter.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's totally how the dad's reacting to that. 'Cause he can still kind of tell what's going on. And so the first time, so I only saw Re-Animator first time as an adult, and the first time I ever heard about it was a scene in the movie American Beauty. Kevin Spacey's character is talking to Wes Bentley's character, and they become friends in that movie, and they're like smoking pot and stuff and talking about whatever, and he's like, what about that scene in Re-Animator? Oh, is that movie where the guy's severed head goes down on that chick? And they're like, yeah. So that's the first time I ever heard of this movie. And then a million years later, when I'm into horror movies and stuff, I'm like, oh, I guess I should watch Re-Animator. And I'm like, oh, that's right. This is that scene. It would have been a way different movie if, like, he has a girlfriend who's into this dead guy, doesn't care that he's headless. She's like, yeah. But this is not that. This is just rape, pretty much. And, yeah, and he's like, he's got his headless body. Well, first of all, it just rips the clothes off, and it's just terrifying because, it's like in any other circumstance, seeing Barbara Crampton naked is great. But this is like, and this is why she's a good actress, even though she's just laying there. But, like, so he rips her, the body rips her clothes off, and your first thought is like, oh my God, because now she's super extra vulnerable. She was already very vulnerable, knocked out on this tray. But now she's doesn't even have clothes on. It's like, oh God, what's he going to do?
My first thought was, no, don't have the headless, don't have sex with her with your headless body. No. 'Cause he's just like he just have this headless body holding a head. And his face is all bruised and bloody, and it's just...
And he, like, licks her face, and because he's controlling the body.
He sticks
so
his tongue in her
ear.
ear.
He sticks his tongue in her ear, then he licks her face, then he, like, sucks on her nipple. And it's just...
and she's trying to push him away.
It's just so fucked up. And if this character, Megan, she dies a little bit later in the movie, but, like, if she hadn't, the second film would have just been her in therapy, probably, because how the fuck do you ever get past this?
Thank God the cunnilingus got stopped, because that is fucked up.
That is super fucked up.
It is one of the most fucked up things I've ever
really is. And that's, Stuart Gordon, besides being obsessed with H.P. Lovecraft, had this, he was into the sexual horror. I mean, have you ever seen Castle Freak?
I have not, no.
Oh, there's a scene there with a monster eating a woman's nipple, basically. It's like, holy shit. And, From Beyond has a lot of sexuality kind of stuff happening in it, too. But you've seen that, right? Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But this, man...
Yeah, this is the worst. Absolutely. And I'm just saying that because Stuart Gordon, it's in his MO.
You think it's his fetish?
Maybe. I mean, he clearly likes Barbara Crampton. Because he puts her in his movies and she's often not all the way dressed, So, but which, by the way, a little side note, but Barbara Crampton is still active in horror. She produces and stuff now. And a couple years ago, she did a vampire film called Jacob's Wife. And she was, I think, 60 years old or just about 60 at the time. Still did topless scenes. It's like, what a badass.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, look, she still looks like $1 million fucking dollars. So good for her. And I don't think she's even had work done. I think she's just naturally very beautiful and takes good care of herself. But so, yes, but she does this topless scene when she's like, 60 or right around there. And it doesn't matter that she still looks good or not. What matters is, holy shit, she did that. It's like how you just react, like, hell yeah, like, you go. You get it, do it the way you want to do it. That's cool. I just thought that was so badass. And that's when I really, decided that besides just being, this fun, hot actress I like, that I'm like, she seems like a cool fucking person. And that's when I looked her up on Twitter, and she's followed me back. And we've never really interacted, but,
Hey.
I see her tweets and stuff, and she's she's an awesome lady, very cool.
You should tweet at her about our podcast and be like, we fucking think you're awesome.
I probably should. That's a good
You
call.
never know, Timmy. You never know. She could respond and be like, hey, I want to be your friend.
I'd be like, okay. Okay, Barbara Crampton. She's like, stop saying my first and last name. You don't need to do that because we're friends now. Okay. But so even in this scene, she knew what the role was, right? So she had no problem doing this. And it is, I think it is a very fearless performance, even though she's just laying there. You're nude on a metal table. You have someone holding a prop head up to your hoochie coochie and on your, sucking on your boob and stuff. Fucking fearless is what I think.
I forgot to look up how they did that with his head.
Well, the close-ups when he's sucking on her boob, I think it's close in enough, the shot, where it's just his head there and they put a fixture over it. But yeah.
But then Dan, storms in. There's a wide shot of her on the table.
Yeah.
The headless body, and then his face, and they turn.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was like, how the fuck did they do that? And he makes expression. He's like, ugh!
Yeah.
With his tongue sticking out and blood dripping down. I was like, what a cool fucking shot. But thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank God this guy's here.
Thank God.
Herbert comes in first and makes a big show of confronting Dr. Hill so that Dan can sneak in and save the lady, save Megan. So, and God, this part's just fun and great. So, now Herbert's fully confronting Hill. Hill's this evil monster. Herbert's a fucking mad scientist. And this is sweet, monster versus mad scientist. And, he's trying to jab more Re-Animator stuff into them. Is what Herbert's trying to do. I suppose to overload them or something. I don't know. I didn't quite get that.
I think he says overdose, if I remember correctly.
Right. Yep. Good job.
Which is interesting because you don't even know if that's going to work because all of this is new.
Right. Yeah. It's all very new.
But you got to try something.
Yeah. I mean, what the hell else are you gonna do, right? Just keep jabbing him with things till something works. But what they don't know is that maybe more time has elapsed than we know, and that the Dr. Hill secretly has, without their knowing, has reanimated every fucking body in there, and did the lobotomy thing to him, so they're all under his control. And that is such a great shot when he's like, Herbert's like, we have a plan. He's like, so do I. And then like I can't remember what he says, but then all the body bags rise up at once, and all these gross ass zombie people get out. It's so, and they're all naked.
I clapped and I went, woohoo!
Yeah, it was so cool. And yeah, then there's all these horribly, because they're all died from different things. So you got a guy who looks like he got killed by a gunshot, like his face is half blown off or whatever. And you got all these different people. It's very like Beetlejuice waiting room. Like everybody's got a different issue, but like, so they're all coming to life and trying to kill everybody.
I wrote down that what made me laugh again was that Hill puts his head on his body, but it's backwards.
Oh, right. Yeah. Because he's like trying to like lead this army basically of zombies. And he's trying to, at that point, I assume he's trying to escape too, but, and so there's all sorts of things happening. And as we mentioned a little earlier, so Megan's dad, who's been one of Hill's zombie followers, sees like Megan's getting like, she's about to die basically. She's getting attacked and she's still just wearing a dress shirt. Dan puts a shirt on her, but that's all she's got on. And there's all these zombies attacking her. And so her dad, who's a zombie, she starts screaming at him, and kind of it snaps him out of it enough that he starts fighting them off, which, like you said, is fucking rad.
It was really fun.
Yeah. Because that's what you want to see. That's one of those things, once you figure out what's going on, you're like, well, I would like to see a fight between these guys. So that's what happens. And then one thing that I always forget about when I watch this movie that is so great, it happens right around the same time. Herbert grabs the bone saw that's been made. They've made a big deal of the bone saw. It's been like a popular prop in this movie. He takes the bone saw and he attacks Dr. Hill with it. And like rips him to shreds, and the body falls down, but then the intestines start attacking him.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I always forget about that.
How fucking cool. It just wraps around him.
Yeah.
It was really neat. Like a snake.
Totally. Oh, you know what? I wrote down a line. It was a little bit before this scene, just to jump around a little bit. But so when when he's about to have his head go down on Megan, and Herbert walks in, he says, "I'm disappointed in you, Dr. Hill. You stole my formula only to use it to get it on with this bubble-headed co-ed." And I think she was still passed out at that point, maybe. No, she was awake. So I'm very surprised she didn't be like, fuck you, dude.
Do you want to help?
Yeah, it's like, I'm naked and getting raped by zombies. Why don't you shut the fuck up, turn off the judgment hose for just a second, and save my ass, Come on. Fucking prick.
Oh,
yeah. But it's just, this ending is just so great. And then there's like, some gas gets broken, and so there's cloudy chemicals of some kind that they're starting to choke on.
There was just so much going on that I was just like, how is this gonna fucking end?
Yeah, exactly.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and it's, and at that point, they're just kind of pulling you along so you don't really care. And, the zombies rip her dad to shreds.
Dude, I wrote that in caps. Whoa!
Yeah. So, and it's sad, because he's kind of, he's become a hero at the end. And then it's kind of like this in silhouette kind of stop motion animation thing they do, and you just see him get ripped, arms and legs and head and everything, and oof.
Oofda.
And somewhere in there, the dad also takes his thumbs and it pokes out Dr. Hill's eyes on the head.
Yeah, that was cool.
Oh, and then he throws the head. That's the head that gets thrown against the wall I mentioned a long time ago. That's Dr. Hill's head, because he smushes it.
I laughed again because the cop walks by the room, and when the head gets thrown against the wall, he looks in the room and he's like, nope. And he just keeps going.
It's like, nope, I got pornography to read. I can't deal with this. I'm trying to find Shandy's issue of Hustler. I got to get out of here.
It reminded me of Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the end when he's like, Yeah, nope.
Yes!
Like,
The
you
truck
just
driver?
keep running.
Yeah.
Yeah, like very smart. Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't go in there. Fuck
Right.
that.
You know, and both those guys are not white, and so they're probably both always thinking like, I've seen horror movies. I know what happens to the guys that aren't white. I'm getting the fuck out of here. We always get murdered. I'm leaving. Yeah, and it's just, you're right. It's just pandemonium, and it's so much fun. And this movie goes very fast, but you never feel like you don't know what's going on. It's always pretty clear, and it escalates quickly because it really is only a couple of days or something. And you know what I was thinking is like, okay, so shit gets out of hand so fast, right? But if you think about it, in real life, if some college students figured out how to reanimate corpses, it would get that out of hand that quickly, I think.
I agree. Because nothing like that has ever happened. So you don't know how do you handle it if it happens?
And plus, one of them is bound to be some shithead like Herbert West and not care about what happens.
Is that what's going to happen next, Timmy? Since like
what?
The world is in fucking shambles.
Oh, in the
Somebody's gonna
second
figure
film?
out how to No, just in real life, Timmy.
Oh, yeah, maybe. You know what?
Like...
With everything that's been going on in the real world this week and last week, who the fuck knows? Honestly, an evil scientist creating an army of zombies would probably be helpful at this point because I'm sure they would go kill Elon Musk, you know? So, I mean, if any supervillain out there is preparing any sort of evil army, zombies, robots, monsters, I don't care. I'm sure they're not fond of that man, right? I mean, at least I feel like any supervillain they'd all have the same goal at this point, right? It'd be like when the X-Men team up with Magneto to fight somebody else. That's just what I think. I don't know.
My God.
Yeah.
I did. But, man, poor Megan, though.
Yeah.
She went through some shit in this movie, and it's really sad that she dies. But pretty cool scene in the elevator.
Yeah.
Cause he run. I'm like, help her out, dude.
Yeah. Cause they're he's trying to get her into the elevator, and then a zombie's still there, and he starts choking her.
Yeah, and then does he saw the arm off? Or with an axe, right?
Yeah, that's where, because you think he's running away. You're like, what the fuck, man? But then he's going to the fire axe thing, and he breaks the glass and grabs a big fire axe. And yeah, he first up chops the arm off, and then he attacks the zombie guy with it, with the axe.
Yeah, but it was really cool that the hand is still around her throat, even after he chops it away from the rest of the body. So fucking cool.
Yeah, and it's too late. And she's
Too
dead.
late.
It's so fucking sad. It really is sad, you know? Because like you said, this girl has had her father taken away from her in a very fucked up, crazy way. And then she's been sexually assaulted by monsters. And also, not to mention just knocked out and drugged and kidnapped and woke up in a random place and have a guy strip your clothes out. She's been through so much fucking trauma. And now she still doesn't even get to live, you know? She doesn't get to move on with her life.
And her fiance, who she loves, has a hand in it. Has a hand in everything that's happening.
Yep. Part of it is his fault for sure. So she's dead, and so he doesn't save Megan in time. She's dead. So the next thing you see is him running through the hospital, and everybody's helped him because they know these people. You know, they're like, oh, God, it's Dan and Megan. Oh, my God, what happened? So he runs in and he puts her on the stretcher.
This is actually a cool scene because it's mirroring the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. Just like in the beginning, like Shandi said, and he's got the paddles, defibrillator. The same doctor is there, Stuart Gordon's wife. And just like before, she's like, I'm sorry, but she's gone, that kind of thing. And they all leave and he's there crying. And then he notices, yes, he has Herbert's satchel, which has a bunch of Re-Animator gunk in it.
When I see him going to grab the serum out of the kit, out of the bag, I wrote, don't do it.
This is such a brilliant ending. Then it starts fading to black, and all you see, like I said earlier, all you see is the neon green liquid. Everything fades out, and you still just see this little patch of green as the neon green liquid, and then it starts going down because he's injecting it into her.
Don't do it. Don't
Yep.
do it, Dan.
And then it cuts to black, and you just hear it fades to black, obviously, because it's been fading. So then it's totally black, and she goes, you just hear her scream, and it's like, oh no. Because, like
And
you
then
mentioned,
credits.
yeah, and then credits, then awesome music, and we're done. But like you mentioned, when they get brought back to life, they scream. So that's a great way, because earlier when they bring that guy back to life, he's like, ah, So by having her scream, it's like you've told the audience, like, well, this is what happens, so.
She's got blood coming out of her mouth.
Yep, she's all gross.
All
and
foamy. Ugh. Man,
Yeah.
what a good fucking movie.
It is really good. I was very excited when we drew that out of all the user suggestions. Users, I don't know. We're not selling drugs. Listener suggestions. Yeah, this isn't a program. This isn't software. I don't know why I said that. Anyways,
I love it.
but when you drew that out of their suggestions, I was like, oh, hell yeah. Because it's one of those movies. It's like, well, anybody that likes horror is going to at least know of this movie, even if you haven't seen it.
It's definitely a horror fan favorite for a lot of
Definitely.
people. Like, people talk about it all the time still.
Yeah. Well, and it's awesome, and the people in it are awesome. Stuart Gordon was cool. Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs are cool. I don't know whatever happened with, and like you said, Brian Yuzna. But I don't know if anything ever, the guy that plays Dan, the hero doctor, sort of hero-ish, I don't know if that actor really, I don't know what else he did. Have you ever seen him in something before?
Should we look it up real quick? I'm actually kind of like, I'm intrigued to see.
I'm looking it up. Bruce Abbott.
Faster than me.
Yeah, well, I'm just sitting in front of my desktop computer here. So he did another movie with Sherilyn Fenn and Patricia Arquette. All right.
Hey.
In 1991, so Sherilyn Fenn would have just been done playing Audrey Horne on Twin Peaks. So like, ooh la da. Anyways, but yeah, I don't know much else. He was in another horror film called Bad Dreams. Have you ever heard of that? I've never heard of it. 1988, directed by Andrew Fleming. There's like a monster hand on it. And the slogan on the poster says, Cynthia's got a grave problem, and grave is underlined. Oh, speaking of posters, I got to mention this one because it's one of my favorite slogans I've ever seen on a movie poster. It's like a picture of Jeffrey Combs as Dr. Herbert West, right? And you can see like a headless body coming at him from the background. And he's got Dr. Hill's head laying on his desk, right? And that's the movie poster. And it says, Herbert West has a very good head on his shoulders and another one in a dish on his desk. It's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah. I love it.
That's great.
It's great. Good job, everybody.
Oh, man.
It's a good movie. It's just like, there's nothing else like it.
There really isn't. And it's almost like a love letter to the old horror movie classics.
Definitely.
This movie.
It's very like, I want to make an old school monster movie, but have it with modern, at the time, modern 1985 sensibilities. So more sex and violence,
Sex and violence, sex and violence.
Yeah, what is
and,
that?
Abe...
Is that a song? Because you've done that before in an episode.
It is. I don't know who it's by, though.
Okay. I thought maybe you just made it up and then you made it up again. I'm like, she's making it up again, but it's exactly the same. How's she doing that? Because whenever I make something up and someone's like, do that again, I'm like, I can't. I already fucking forgot everything about it. I have no idea anymore. Well, that's, I think we did it, right? Did we do it?
We did it. And I want to say a huge shout out to every single person who's been listening to the podcast, who likes the podcast, who made suggestions. Fucking A, you're awesome.
Fucking A.
Mm-hmm.
The next one, that's going to be a way different story. Because the next one, neither one of us have seen. I don't even know if I'd heard of it before this, but it's called The Wolf House. It's only about 7 years old, and it's a stop-motion movie.
I'm really excited for this one.
Yeah, me too. It's I feel like it's going to be super fucked up.
From when you read the synopsis of it on our Instagram Live, I was like, holy shit.
Well, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shandi. Thank you,
Timmy.
You're welcome. Thank you to Steve, the Maple Leaf Ward, because he's Canadian.
I was at the bar last night where he works, and Steve, I don't know if you listen to this podcast, but somebody that works there gave him a nickname, Baby Hands, and I can't stop thinking about it.
Oh, that's mean, because that's what people call the Trump, right? It's baby hands, because he has little hands.
Steve Ward, you have very soft baby hands. So we laughed about it, but then we try to make him know that it's a compliment.
Also, we're pretty sure you're not like a dictatorial maniac, but
No.
I don't know you super well. Maybe you're super fascist. I don't know.
No.
I'm going to guess no.
No.
Also, thank you to Jordan Cooper for writing the music. Jordan's also not fascist. None of our friends are. Any that were, we probably don't talk to anymore. Now is when we say social media things. So I'll say it.
Yeah, follow it. Do you want me to?
Social media things.
You do it.
I just did. I said social media things. Okay. Find our website, please. Earnfullofpopcorn.com. URNFULLA. Sandy, you want to say more social media things?
Follow us, please, on Instagram at Earnful of Popcorn. We just hit 100 followers. Woo.
On what?
On Instagram.
Oh, on Instagram. Okay, yeah. Find us on Instagram. And we already have a bunch on YouTube, I think. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple and Spotify and stuff. And, now that a bunch of people complained to me about not being on YouTube, and that we finally did that a month ago or so, if you have any other podcast things that you want to complain about, so that we put it on there eventually, go ahead. If there's another platform I don't know about and you feel like bitching about it to us, then please do, because I have no qualms putting it wherever we can put it. So well, we did it again, and that's Re-Animator. It's very good. If you haven't seen it, you should. Especially if you listen to this podcast and haven't seen it, it's I think I can safely say it's up your alley.
Yeah, totally. It is.
Because if you like us, you'll like that. Because we're very much like, we're very Re-Animatory. What? That doesn't make any sense.
Re-Animatory.
What does that mean? Why would I even say that?
Time to get reanimated. If you want to get reanimated. Take the serum. You want to get reanimated. Dun, 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 dun,
One guy's head and the other's the dead. They're gonna mash it up. Hey! Yo, you cut it off my head? Take him off. You're gonna get reanimated. Hey! All these people are naked. You're gonna get reanimated. Hey, don't pay no mind. Dr. Herbert West is gonna live, is what you'll find in part 2. Rent it at your local video store. Okay, that's all I got. I don't know. I was really going on a rip there for a second.